So, John and Megan, welcome. I want to discuss the financial strategies that we developed for you to achieve your financial goals. And I also want to review the statement of advice that we created for you. So, in terms of retirement, as we discussed, you're planning to retire in 10 years from now. John, you will be retired at the age of 65. And Megan, you will be retired at the age of 60. You both want to have an annual income of $70,000 each one in the retirement, and you want to minimize the most possible taxes in the retirement. In terms of insurance, as you told me, you want to make sure that your family is protected in case of disablement or death from both parts. And you want to make sure that the insurance will cover all the annual expenses in case of an accident. You also want to ensure that your wishes are carried out if you pass away. And you don't want to use your surplus for cash for paying the insurance premiums because you want to prioritize to pay off the mortgages. One of the concerns that you have is that with the insurance that you have, you don't know if it is worth it to retain the actual cover. In terms of investment, as we discussed, you want to have enough savings and funds for giving to your two children $50,000 each one for buying their first home. As you tell me, you have an investment property that is valued on $1 million, but you want to invest according to your risk profile, and you are concerned about the low rental on your actual investment property. So, as I told you, the strategies that we developed are oriented for you to achieve your financial goals and also to improve your financial situation, for you to be in a better financial situation. In terms of your retirement and superannuation, my strategy name is called salary sacrifice. John, my advice is to divert 10% of your actual salary into the superannuation fund. This will be adding approximately $13,500. For you, Megan, is also to divert 10% of your actual salary to your superannuation fund. This will be adding approximately $7,200. This strategy is also work as a tax saving strategy, since the tax generated on these contributions will be only 15%. For every 10,000 salary sacrificed to superannuation, the tax saving is $1,750 per year. So in average, approximately, you both will be saving $3,622 per year. Another recommendation for your retirement and for your superannuation fund is to put the 25% of the $5,000 heritage into your superannuation funds as a non-concessional contribution. This will be adding $150,000 to your super, divided $75,000 to John's super and $75,000 to Megan's super, because there is a limit. By being a non-concessional contribution, when you access to your super in the future, you will not pay taxes on those contributions, because any non-concessional contribution will be returned to you completely tax-free. These strategies are oriented for you to achieve your financial goal of having a future income of at least $70,000 each one in the retirement by making the 10% contribution each year and the 25% of the heritage. You will increase in a very significant way the balance of your super in 10 years from now. With the evaluation we made, it is estimated that the balance with the new contribution will be approximately 54% higher than the balance without the recommended contribution. And it should be clarified that the estimations are based on the assumption that the return on the fund will be 6% per year. Now, the disadvantage of this strategy is the lack of accessibility to these funds and the fluctuation of the savings. By diverting the additional contribution to the super, you won't be able to access to those funds until you meet your superannuation conditional release. This means until you retire. So you need to manage in a very good way your cash flow. Now, the strategy is for paying off the mortgage. We also want to take advantage of the heritage. My recommendation is to use 75% of the heritage that represent $350,000. The strategy is to put those funds in an offset account for you to pay more easily your mortgages. For your principal residence, my advice is to put the $100,000 in an offset account, so you will decrease the debt from $200,000 from $200,000 to $100,000. And for the other mortgage of the investment property, the same. Now use the other $250,000 to decrease the debt. So now the new debt will be $250,000. By doing this, you are decreasing the annual interest because now the interest will be calculated in relation to the new debt. This will help you to pay off your mortgage faster, and it will increase your surplus of cash. The disadvantage of this strategy is that if you need to dispose part of those funds and you take it out of the offset account, you will be incrementing again the mortgage debt. So you will be reducing the amount of interest that you will be saving. Now, in terms of insurance, my recommendation is to change the sum insurance according to the insurance needs analysis that we made. John, for you, I recommend to decrease your sum insurance. For your life insurance, I recommend to decrease the sum insurance to $175,000. And your TPD sum insurance, I recommend to decrease it to $160,000. For you, Megan, you'll be the opposite way. For you, I recommend to increase your sum insurance. For your life insurance, I recommend to increase the sum insurance to $285,000. And for your TPD sum insurance, I recommend to increase it to $270,000. This is for make sure that in case of an accident, your family will be secure and all the expenses will be covered. But we're also making sure that you are paying only the necessary premium according to insurance need analysis. This insurance needs analysis, in the insurance needs analysis that we make, we are taking into account your current assets, your current debts, and the annual expenses that you make. Another strategy for you, John and Megan, is to pay your insurance premium through your superannuation funds. This will represent a significant reduction in the expenses that you do annually. For you, June, this will represent a reduction of approximately 3% of your annual expenses. And for you, Megan, this will represent a reduction of approximately 2% of your annual expenses. This will benefit your savings for the investment and for paying your current debts, like the mortgages. Now, the disadvantage and the risk of this strategy is that by paying the insurance through your superannuation balance will be affected. And if the superannuation fund doesn't develop well in the 10 years, the estimated balance that we have calculated could be affected too. So for estate planning, John and Megan, I also recommend that you include your superannuation assets in the estate planning because normally the people don't have it. Now, in terms of investment, John and Megan, as you tell me, you want to invest according to your risk profile. So my advice is to sell the investment property and invest those funds in relation to your risk profile. This will be investing 50% of those funds in government bonds, in defensive assets, and the other 50% in shares that will represent the growth assets. This according to your risk profile, which the result indicate that you are a balanced investor. The strategy that we are looking for, the objective that we're looking for is to having a return of at least 8%. That is the double that you are having for your investment property. This strategy is oriented to achieve your goals of having a higher return on your investment according to your risk profile and incremented your savings and funds. As your risk profile indicate, 50% of those funds, as I already said, it should be allocated in growth assets and the other 50% in defensive assets. But what is the risk and the disadvantage of this? Because 60% of those funds are be allocated in no asset, on growth asset, there is that you could have negative return on those assets, or you could also lose money. So if you don't manage in a very well your cash flow, you will be affecting in a very bad way your surplus of cash, and that could affect your other financial goals. As you see, all these strategies are for you to achieve your financial goals and for you to be in a better position. The strategy are focused in the next principle, to increase your cash surplus. Even that you are making salary sacrifices, with the new annual returns, you could be incrementing your annual surplus and you could pay the mortgage in a very faster way. But at the same time, we want to increase your superannuation balance in 10 years from now for you to achieve the goal of having 70,000 income in the retirement. We also want this strategy also oriented for you to pay the mortgage in a faster way and for you to have the necessary surplus cash for you to give your children the $50,000 each one. So if you have any doubt about the strategies, you want to discuss something, please let me know.